afternoon. I want to welcome and wish everybody a very happy Thanksgiving, and maybe talk a little bit about what Thanksgiving really means. It probably means a lot of different things to a lot of different people, but to me it means exactly what it says. You know, thanks for giving. You know, and I didn't know how I was going to do this today. It's kind of a bittersweet Thanksgiving, and I'll tell you a little bit more about it as I go on. But you think about everybody that comes into your life and the impact they make on you, and some good, some bad, mostly good, mostly you learn. Oh yeah, sorry for my terrible face here. I've been up for a few days, exhausted here for last couple months. So I'm sitting here tonight, and I'm sitting at this table here that I probably had my first Thanksgiving dinner here about 43 years ago. And so I decided, since this will be my last Thanksgiving dinner at this table, to kind of do a little honor my parents, I guess you would say, for everything that they've done for us. This table came into our life as a gift 43, 44 years ago. And of course my parents paid for it, but it was still a gift. And it's a gift because it's always kept on giving, you know. As growing up, we all sat around this table, all of our brothers, friends, everybody sat around this table, and we all enjoyed each other's company. And each person, you know, we took some things away from, you know. Some people gave us this and that and everything. And years later now, 43 something years later at this table, a lot of things have transpired. And you know, some friends are no longer here. So I just kind of want to do a honorary token. As you can see, I decided, even though it's only me here, to do a complete meal. Of course, I decided to get little birds instead of the big bird, and that way they didn't have to go to waste. I can reheat these up, you know. And I tell you, deviled eggs, the hardest goddamn thing in the world to make. I give the women kudos for being able to do this all these years, because it's a pain in the butt. It looks simple, it's not. Cornbread, I got that, you know. I did the stuffing and the green beans and got the mashed potatoes, and I just had to put out the plates here that we had growing up that was given my parents for a wedding gift back in the 40s. And so I thought I would just use them one more time. And being now as the oldest member of my family, surname, this table now has been gifted to me. And what do I do with it? So what you do with everything, you pass them on. And so I will be gifting this table here to another person, whether or not they deserve that or not. But it will stay in. I'll restrain myself there for a minute. But I decided to do a last course here. My mother recently passed at 91, almost 91, a couple weeks short. And I found out more about my parents in the last 2 months than I have for the last 60-something years. And it goes back to integrity and giving. How ironic, Thanksgiving. That's why I decided to do this. My parents were very giving people. And if only I could keep up their honor on that. So, I know for the younger crowd out there, you're probably saying, oh, it's some old fart out there, just whining. But, well, I'm not whining. I've had a good life, as did my parents. And, but when you finalize things like this, things come to your mind. And cheers. Give me a second here. I'm going to see if I can pull it off without being a tearjerker here. But I found something in my in going through boxes that was very touching to me. And it was written down on like rice paper, really thin. Like when you unfold it, it was almost cracking and falling apart. And evidently my parents have held on to that for a long time, and I do not know what year it was written. And it's a story. It might bore the crap out of you, but I also think it's a gift because it allows you to stop and look at things differently. And the story touched me for the fact that our family also lost a son at a young age. And then now here, all these years later, my experiences in South America. And so I'll try to get this over with as fast as possible, so my meat doesn't get cold and my eggs don't rot. So I'll try to condense it. If I bore you to crap, if you have that, just check out. But anyway, I thought I'd share it with you since it is Thanksgiving, and people look back at what Thanksgiving's all about. It's about giving, and I've been given a lot in life. I've been given the gift of so many friends that I've taken away something from each one. I've learned so many things, and that doesn't stop. That doesn't stop. Doesn't matter how old you get. For instance, the last year, I'm 63. Last year I met this kid, 40 years younger than me, young kid growing up, and here I'm thinking I know everything about the business we're in, and he was just showing me new things, and he gave me a gift of volunteering. He was always there volunteering to help me out. He was right there, this and that, and it really meant a lot to me. And that's Ivan, that's you, you're looking. I believe in the same token, I also gave him something too. So at an age like this, I know everybody reflects a lot, but every person, whether male or female, that's come into my life is always given me something to take on with life. And so on that note, my parents gave us a lot. They gave us integrity, and I thank them for that. So I'll go ahead and, if you get bored, but I gotta pass it on, okay? Okay. I've been told many times the story of a certain letter that I received years ago. I'm going to condense it here because the impression it made on me was very deep, and I have never told it. On ships in distant seas or by quiet firesides near the home, without a reflective, thoughtful response from those around me. So here goes the letter. It's from came from Peking, China. It says, "Dear Doctor, please don't be too surprised in getting a letter from me. I am only signing my first name. My surname is the same as yours. You won't even remember me. 2 years ago, I was in your hospital under the care of another doctor. I lost my baby the day it was born. That day, my doctor came in to see me, and he left. When he left, he said, 'Oh, by the way, there's a doctor here with the same name as yours who noticed your name on the board and asked me about you. He said he would like to come in and see you because you might be a relative.' I told him you just lost your baby and I didn't think you would want to see anybody, but it was all right with me. And then in a little while you came in. You put your hand on my arm and sat down for a moment beside my bed. You didn't say much of anything, but your eyes rolled and your voice was kind. And pretty soon I felt better. As you sat there, I noticed that you looked pretty tired and that the lines on your face were very deep. And I never saw you again, but the nurse told me you were in the hospital practically day and night. This afternoon I was a guest in a beautiful Chinese home here in Peking. The garden was enclosed by a high wall on one side, surrounded by 20 red and white flowers. Was a grass plate about 2 feet long. They asked someone to translate the Chinese characters for me, and they said, "Enjoy yourself. It is later than you think." I began to think about it for myself. I had not wanted another baby because I was still grieving for the last one I lost. But I decided at that moment that I should not wait any longer. Perhaps it may be later than I think too. And then because I was thinking about my baby, I thought of you and the tired lines in your face. Like these. And the moment of sympathy you gave me when I so needed it. I don't know how old you are, but I'm quite sure that you're old enough to be my father. And I know that those few minutes you spent with me meant little or nothing to you, of course. But they meant a great deal to a woman who was desperately unhappy. So I'm presumptuous as to think that in turn I can do something to you, for you too. Perhaps for you it is later than you think. Please forgive me, but when your work is over, on the day you get my letter, please sit down quietly, all by yourself, and think about it. So she goes on with the letter is this from Margaret. Usually I sleep very, oh wait, no, excuse me, that was Margaret. This is now the doctor speaking. Excuse me. Usually I sleep very well when I'm not disturbed by the telephone, but that night I awoke a dozen times to seeing the brass plate and the Chinese wall. I called myself a silly old fool for being disturbed by a letter from a woman. I couldn't even remember and dismissed the thing from my mind. And before I knew it, I found myself saying again to myself, well, maybe it is later than you think. Why don't you do something about it? I went to my office the next morning and told them I was going away for 3 months. It is a wholesome experience for any man who thinks he is important in his own organization to step out for a few moments or months. The first time I went away on a long trip, some years before this letter came, I felt sure that everything would go to pieces. When I returned, I found there were just as many patients as when I left. Everyone had recovered just as fast or faster, and most of my patients did not even know I had been away. It is humiliating to find out how quickly and completely, competently one's place is filled, but it is also a very good lesson. So, I telephoned to Shorty, the retired colonel who was perhaps my closest friend, and asked him to come to my office. On his arrival, I told him I wanted to go home and pack a grip and come on down to South America with me. He replied that he'd like to very much to attend to, but that he had so much to attend to in the next few months that it was out of the question to be away for even a week. I read him the letter. He shook his head. I can't go, he said. Of course I would like to, but maybe sometime. His words came more slowly. What was that thing again that woman said? It is later than you think? Well, he sat quietly for a moment, and neither of us spoke. I could almost see the balance swaying as he weighed the apparent demands of the present against the relatively few years each of us still had to live, exactly as I had the night before. At last he spoke. I waited 3 months for those people to make up their minds. I am not going to wait any longer. They can wait for me now. Sounds like me, you know. When would you like to go? That's me. We went to South America.
We spent day after day at sea on a comfortable freighter, feeling our burdens slip off with the miles and our tired bodies being made over by the winds that swept across the Pacific from China. In the course of time, we found ourselves in one of the great cities of South America. And by good fortune, we were entertained by one of the prominent men of the country, a man who had built enormous steel plants and industries were growing rapidly. During the visit, Shorty asked our host if he played golf. He replied, "Senor, I play a little. I would like to play more. My wife is on vacation in the United States with our children. I would like to join her. I have beautiful horses here, which I would love to ride. I can do none of these things because I am too busy. I am 55 years old, and in 5 years more I shall stop." It is true, I said the same thing 5 years ago. But I did not know how much we should be growing. We are building a new plant. We are making steel such as South America has never done, ever done. I could not let go even for an afternoon of golf. My office boy has better leisure than I have. "Senor," I said, "do you know why I'm in South America?" And he replies, "Because," he said, "perhaps you had not too much to do and had the necessary time and the money to permit it." "No," I replied, "I had a great deal to do, and I did not have too much of either time or money. We are sitting here on your lovely terrace because a few weeks ago, a girl whom I wouldn't know if I saw her looked at a brass plate and a Chinese wall in a city in Peking in the heart of China." So I told him the story. Like Shorty, he made me repeat the words. "Enjoy yourself. It is later than you think." During the rest of the afternoon, he seemed a bit occupied. The next morning, I met him in the corridor of our hotel. "Doctor," he said, "please wait a moment. I have not slept well. It is strange. It is not that a casual acquaintance, which you would say yourself you are, could change the current of a very busy life. I have thought long and hard since I saw you yesterday. I have cabled my wife that I am coming." He put his hand on my shoulder and said, "It was a very long finger indeed," he said, "that wrote those words on the Chinese wall." In summary, many years have been added to the average expectation of life, but each individual's fate is still a hazard. The most valuable people around us have lived largely for others. This seems the time to remind them that they will have more years and happier ones to do good for others if they start right now to do something for themselves, to go places and to do things they have looked forward to for years, to give those who love them the happiness of seeing them enjoy some of the rewards which they have earned, to replace competition with a bit of contemplation. Last sentence here. The Shorty in this story, strong and well a few weeks ago, has gone to his reward. I spent the last hours at his bedside. Over and over again he said, "Fred, I am so happy that we went to South America together. I thank God we did not wait too long." You know, I don't know if it touched anybody else, but it really touched me, especially since I found it on parchment paper. I had to print it out because it was falling apart. All I can say is it is Thanksgiving Day, and I guess it's called Thanksgiving Day for a reason, and I think I'm going to thank myself for going through all this work to fix myself a meal. I'm probably not going to eat it because I'm going next door to friends that invited me over for cocktails and drinks. So, on that note, all of you take care of yourself now and just kind of remember what Thanksgiving's about. And be open and aware to the people that come into your life. It's very important.
Thank you now. Take care.